and welcome to Alpha Militaria TV. My name is Richard Saunders. Thanks very much for tuning in and seeing what we're up to once again. Now, I'm down with a very good friend of mine, Tony Belas from Daystate, BRK, MTC Optics, who's come down to Reading Air Target Shooting Club, where, as you'll know, I do most of my reviews. And he's brought with him a bunch of the current BRK rifles. And I just thought it'd be a really good opportunity to get Tony to walk us through those individual guns. So welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Richard.
Welcome to the club.
Lovely to be here.
Right, I'm going to put you to work. Tell us about the BRK Pathfinder.
All right. Okay, well, this is the very latest BRK rifle. If you know, it's BRK's Brocock. And we decided to... Brocock is traditional, they've been running since 1980. We decided to give it a three-letter modern name. But we continue with the old name as well. So you can choose BRK or Brocock. That's why it's BRK.
Right.
This one's labelled up as a BRK, the first one. The Pathfinder is based on the Commander, which is a rifle.
Okay, so not the Ranger then, because I think a lot of people assume it's based on the Ranger.
No, so the Ranger is based on the concept. And it was a lightweight, small as we could possibly make it. 5.5 pounds, folds to nothing.
Yeah.
Tiny little backpack gun. The downside of the Ranger, I suppose, was the shot count, which is fine in 12 foot-pounds.
Yeah.
Not quite so fine in FX.
So it's 35, 40...
40 shots in 2.2,
yeah,
which is more than enough.
For a hunter careful, you know, you're going to be a hunter.
Absolutely.
You shoot.
But in FAC, it doesn't really do much more than 12 foot-pounds. It'll go to 17 or 18, maybe, and 2.2, and it doesn't have much of a shot count there. So,
but the ultimate travelling rifle.
You can't take that away from it. It is just the smallest and lightest thing. Something that you can stick in a sort of a glove box almost. Don't
do that.
No, but it's really small and really easy. You don't have to have a big gun case in the car. You put it in a small, rucksack or something like that. The Pathfinder's an extension of that thinking, but with a 300cc air bottle on the front, gives it a 200 shot capacity. So we're much up there. And of course, now we can actually have some more usable shots in high power rifles and FAC. So the Pathfinder is heavier, it's slightly larger, as you'd expect.
Can't be much though, sure.
Not much, maybe a pound more in all up weight. It still has that folding stock, and it's still small, and it's still light, and it still folds down to its own case.
So show us the folding stock, Tony, just so folks get a realise of an idea of just how.
Okay, so you put your thumb on the top, push down on that, and pull up squarely, and then stock will fold, and then you can take it down into it.
And that locks into position.
So that locks into position, so it doesn't come out. And then you also can remove the silencer to make it even shorter. Still. And this comes with an optional soft case for it as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
It folds up as well. So smaller, but not as small and light as a Ranger, but maybe a little bit more practical.
Right.
That's where it's going.
And it's still humour regulated.
Both rifles are humour regulated, and both have additional Picatinny on them with a whole pile of extras that you can choose to put on if you want to.
And that stock also slides as well, is that right?
Yes, that's both this and the Ranger have the a telescopic stock, which you can use for uber small or right out to too long.
So if you're a fan of the sort of zero or close to zero high relief scopes like this Viper Connect, you can use it on the...
Absolutely. We've got a low eye relief scope on here. That would be actually too short for this scope position, and you would probably that's a standard pull length. If you look at that, that's just about right for your average person. If you're really tall, you could take it and get a bit further.
Power adjuster as well?
This has a 3-stage power adjuster, as do all of this type of Brocock.
So it works on the transfer port?
Transfer port power adjuster, so low, medium, and high. Again, works better in the FAC. 12 foot-pound gun, you don't really need that because you're probably not going to shoot below 12 foot-pound. But it's there. It'll drop down to about 9 foot-pounds.
Okay. And that won't necessarily adjust the shot count, though?
It doesn't make a big difference because it's a transfer port adjuster. It just slows down the air. The same amount of air comes out because the hammer's still striking at the same impact.
Gotcha. And I know BRK Brocock has been on this modular design philosophy for a while.
Yeah.
So what bits could people swap out?
Well, since 2015, since the Compato, and we've been working on that. You can, there's an optional side Picatinny rail, so you can fit accessories to the side. Things come standard with Picatinny on top of this one. There's a lower Picatinny, which is standard on this. You can add different grips. You can add bipods. You can add torches.
Right.
Different silencers, different butt pads.
Right.
There's quite a fair bit you can do.
So you can really customise it.
You can customise it to a fair degree on the Pathfinder. But I think Pathfinder's got the imagination. Sales are great.
Yeah.
And I think they caught the imagination because it's such a small, it looks right, it shoots beautifully.
And plenty of shots.
And there's plenty of shots as well. So it's closer to a small, like, conventional rifle than the Ranger, which was designed absolutely to be as small, as nice as you could possibly make it.
Okay, so let's put that one side. Now, I've got these... So I've got a Ghost Plus and Carbine, is that it?
So that's right. So we've got the Plus version. So this particular one,
the BRK Ghost Plus.
That's right. So this is the Ghost Plus, and why Plus? Because it has a larger bottle, slightly longer shroud, same length barrel as the Carbine, funny enough.
Yes.
And I think for me, for the 12 foot-pound market, the Carbine is pretty much the go-to.
Yeah.
Because the 300cc, that's a lot of air.
Plenty, isn't it?
Most air cylinder guns are 150cc. This has got double the air capacity in most cylinder guns, and it's tiny. And the short shroud as well works. It balances the looks, and when you're going to put a silencer on anyway, you end up with a nice-looking rifle. The Plus, it's an option if you want that extra shot capacity. If you do think you need to shoot,
so how many shots with that one?
He has at least 500 out of this bottle with this design. 250, probably touching 300.
Plenty.
You can endure that shot count. This one here is an interesting one. This is a 45 foot-pound version.
Oh, okay.
The FAC version. Same barrel, actually, just slightly longer shroud. When you're dealing with high-power rifles, you want a little bit more shroud to muffle it down a little bit more, because you are producing quite a lot more air. And the 480cc bottle makes much more sense when you've got a 45 foot-pound gun.
But you can get this as 12 foot-pounds as well.
As a 12 foot-pound one, it's available as 12 foot-pound.
Right.
The great thing about the Ghost is you have this power adjuster on the back. Minimum up to maximum. That gives you a vast range of shooting.
So that's hammer spring adjustment?
Now, this is hammer spring, so this will improve the shot count. So if you turn that right down to minimum, you're probably going to do around about 17 or 18 foot-pounds on the low. There isn't charts online.
Right.
You want to know what they all relate to. And that reduces the noise, it reduces the amount of energy being put through it, and it increases the shot count. So that's one of the great things about the Ghost.
But the same 20-odd point adjuster is on 12 foot-pound rifles.
That's right, and it does work on that very well. And you do go down to half power and from there.
So that gives you the option if you want to fiddle around with different pellet weights and what have you.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you can do, particularly at the higher end. It's probably only 5 feet per second between clicks.
Oh, okay.
So you could actually tweak it to an individual pellet on that.
Wow.
But on the high power one, of course, we have a regulator adjuster on there, and a regulator gauge on the side, so you can adjust the regulator. So if you're up to ultimate power, you could tune the regulator to match your hammer spring if you're that way inclined. You don't need to do it on 12 foot-pound gun because you just don't need to adjust the regulator, so you can just do it on the...
And in terms of flexibility with this, there's, obviously the chassis is a one-piece chassis, I take it.
Yeah, that's the heart to make this. I mean, I don't expect people to be engineers to know this, but to make a piece of engineering like this, all one piece, is actually very difficult and requires expensive machinery, which is pretty much why no other airgun company does it. We're lucky. BRK is owned by an Italian group. They have access to €1 million machinery because of the other work that they do. And so we benefit from having that level of machinery, and we can make things in one piece.
And what is the benefit of a one-piece chassis as opposed to several-piece chassis?
Rigidity. You don't have flex. Airguns really do not like being flexed. And as the air pressure changes, all sorts of things move. We're talking of 250 bar down to 100 bar.
Yeah, when a car tires
move. Car tires 1. Up to 1.6 or something bar. Up to, I think even the lorry tires are not.
People don't appreciate it. It's just 250 bar being contained in.
It flexes stuff. Things move, and you need absolutely tight tolerances in air gun if you're going to retain accuracy over those pressure changes. But you can't make everything to absolute tight tolerances unless you're going to make it like the space shuttle, and cover the space shuttle cost. So you have to, if the gun's going to be affordable by ordinary people, you've got to have some level of tolerances in there. So by making it as one piece, we can control that and still make it at a reasonable cost.
And I'm right in saying this is the Delta Wolf Alpha Wolf chassis?
It's not the same.
Right.
It's made on the same machinery, same billet.
Right.
So they're able to use that design and make it it's very close, but you put the two alongside each other, they do look different.
Right. And so presumably, fewer pieces, fewer seals, fewer
seals. So somebody asked me the other day how many seals are in a Ghost. So I did actually go onto the box, the bill of materials, and count them, and it's 40. Wow. So 14 O-rings in the entire gun.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
No, so an original Huntsman had more than that. So for this level thing, with a regulator, with a removable valve assembly, which is released, that's incredible. It's a beautiful piece of design.
Potential leak.
That's exactly right. And accessories as well. We talked about accessories on the Pathfinder. This actually goes a stage further because accessories for this are designed by PRS. So we have a different rail that can go on the front, different butt pads, different cheek risers, single shot loaders. There's a whole bunch of different accessories.
And in terms of flexibility, you can change the caliber on this?
Yes. If we talk about the 12-foot pound gun again.
Okay, let's give you that.
So the FAC gun, I can change these two barrels over.
Right.
Both, this is a 177, that's a 177. So I could change these over in about a minute.
Wow.
Maybe less.
Wow.
To different barrels. If I wanted to change the caliber, I'm probably adding another minute. So 2 minutes, because I have to open the side lever, undo that screw, and then I can pop the bolt out and put the different caliber.
Right.
So on the 12-foot pound gun, if you buy a 177 or a 22, you can buy a barrel kit at £400.
Okay. Yeah.
And that will allow you to convert that to the other caliber.
So that's the barrel,
barrel. You get the barrel, the shroud, and you get the probe as well,
and a magazine.
And a magazine.
Yeah.
So you've got all that in to change the caliber over. And because of the way the rifle works now, most air rifles, they're built as an engine. So when you designing a 177, you have different hammer springs, you'll have different valve body port sizes and barrel port sizes. But this rifle is different. All of the port sizes and all the springs are identical between the 177 and the 22. So when you change the barrel over, the barrel has a different size port. So how it's done.
Right.
So there's nothing magic about it. It'll do 11.5 foot-pounds as a 177. And if you were to, on a conventional gun, put a 22 barrel in, it will go a lot more power because it's more efficient.
Right.
But on a Ghost, because it's choked on the transfer port on the 177, it will then shoot on the 22 at exactly 11.5 foot-pounds.
Right.
It's quite a clever trick.
It is. And you can swap the side lever over as well, turn into a left.
Yes, I think that's around 3 minutes. As some people say I'm slow on that. But you can remove the two. You slide this out the way because this whole rail slides.
I was going to say, I'm amazed that this hasn't got. I don't know if there's some sort of patent on it or something, but this sliding a
it's not patented, and it has been done before, but just not by many.
Oh, okay.
Because it's an additional cost because you've got to put a rail in. 11, 12. And then you've got another rail to cut here. So this is adding a considerable cost to the interior instead of milling it out of one piece.
Right.
But it does give the option of moving that to the front if you've got a long scope.
Yeah.
To the back if you've got a...
So this whole Picatinny rail will slide virtually the length of the rifle. Then.
Yeah. And because it's a separate part, they put a 0.3 degree angle on it.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually pointing the scope down, which is effect to bring the barrel up. So we don't need to shim scopes. We don't need to adjust.
That's very good. And again, humor air regulated, customizable in terms of pistol grip and things like that.
That's right. Humor air regulators in the front there. It's easy to access. It has a valve body inside at the back there, which is again easy to get to. There's a few screws to the gun is actually very, very easy to work.
And an adjustable butt pad as well.
Yeah, just about as standard. But you can buy the PRS one, which can give you more adjustments, and different options in that as well.
Very cool. Right, Tony, I've got one more gun to ask you about, and that is one of my favourites, This one here. Tell us about this rifle.
So in Brocock BRK mode, this is actually quite an old rifle.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
2018.
So what is the heritage to this rifle?
Well, this one goes right back to the Compato, which was the first rifle Daystate designed for Brocock after buying the company in 2014. So in 2014, we took over the heritage rifles, which were the tubular, everything in a tube. Beautiful rifles. Did sell that well. We redesigned it and we basically brought it up to date. We did Compato, and the Compato is developed into this rifle. This is the Sniper XR. XR is a regulated rifles. It has a human air regulator built into it. 3-level power adjuster like the Pathfinder. It's the same heritage. But this has what we call semi-bullpup. It's not a bullpup and it's a bullpup. It's we've moved the pistol grip forward 4 inches. A bullpup would typically be an 8-inch reach to the back. And that 4 inches, and being part of the design, means instead of having a trigger linkage, they just reverse the trigger. They put the trigger around the other way. So the trigger is at the front,
so you don't get
not to the back.
Sloppiness of the trigger.
You don't get any of that, and you don't have any linkage design. You just have a slightly longer sear, and the sears actually on these guns have 2 positions, so you can have a short and a long one. So so this has the short, the shorter sear and the longer sear on the Pathfinder.
Gotcha.
Adjustable stock. This is the only one left in wood, and we have this laminate stock, and we were doing some camouflage pictures, and we decided to use this in the camouflage pictures. They blend in really well.
And pretty tough as well, aren't they, laminate stock?
Well, the Germans started using laminates towards the end of the war in their Mausers because they were tougher. And they're almost impossible to break. But they also have this beautiful look about them. A sort of side effect, really. You can see the layers in the laminate there. And if that goes on the camera, you can see the layers are there. And then when you cut through the layers to get the shape, you get this beautiful marbling effect. Very effective and, of course, very tough.
But also available in...
Yes, so we've got a black synthetic, fully synthetic stock. We do a sand-coloured one for not everywhere is as green as England. So we have plenty of places in the world which are more of a dusty sand colour. So we do a sand version for them. That's the Sahara version. We also do a version called a Safari, which is a brown tactile stock.
That's the textured wood stock, isn't it?
That's right. Again, wood. But again, very... the great thing about that stock is you can dig and damage it, and you can't tell. It's already pre-damaged. It's got lots of texture in it, so you can even top it up if you needed to. So that's a great hunting stock.
And this split Picatinny arrangement up here, that comes as standard.
Standard on some of the rifles, not all. On this rifle, is standard.
Right, but there's a dovetail rail underneath.
That's right. It's 11-12 millimeter underneath that if you didn't want to use.
Right, gotcha. Super. Well, thanks very much, Tony. I hope that was interesting for you folks. I certainly learnt a few things there, and it's made me realise I need to save up for a few more guns. Thanks for watching.